Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Baka.
So,
I watched
all
Chicken
right
Point, but he never knows because I'm the one that records it. He never knows which direction, so it's just pointing
I point to
indiscriminately.
I point to
Too
my
bad we're not
direction.
really good at like video editing. We could just like move his finger where it needs to go.
Here, just edit this to wherever it has to point.
I'm not doing that. I'm too lazy for that.
Cut and paste. I look like Ethan.
Oh man, so what games has everybody been playing this week?
Nothing.
That's
You
not
can
true.
play one game.
I think I played Ark.
You played
and,
Risk of Rain with my sister.
Oh yeah, Risk of Rain. Oof. First of
second
all,
one?
that is Risk of Rain 2. That is a great training game for people who need to become more dexterous and have to learn how to survive. Because I turn on the death artifact, which means if you're playing a multiplayer, when one person dies, everybody dies.
You did.
So our runs consist on her survival. It is on her to have us move forward. We made it to the last level, which they completely changed, by the way. So I was lost as hell trying to figure it out. And then right before we got to the boss, she got bopped. And we lost. And she was very upset because she was doing pretty well for a while. But some of those monsters have a tendency just to bop you real quick. If you are not paying attention, you drop your guard for a second, you just die. And then that's it. That's it. Good luck. Go ahead, start back over. So, there was that. We played Ark. We killed the second boss, the Megapithecus.
Yeah,
The Megapithecus.
that was
Which was a giant
fun
monkey.
thing. Chicken
We lost
specifically
6
said,
dinos.
it's gonna be in the cold zone, so make sure that you've got some cold gear. Before we even pulled the boss, Kat's like, I'm at half health. And I'm like, are you wearing cold gear? She's like, I've got some cold stuff on. She died before the boss was engaged because she was not wearing a shirt and none of us actually physically looked at her to see that. So,
She didn't have a shirt on. She didn't have a hat on. She didn't have boots on. All she had, or gloves, all she had was pants on.
Yeah, she
like
had
cold
warm
pants.
pants
It's
and
like,
that
that
was
is
it.
not
It's like-
enough. Like, she died pretty early on, too. She just keeled over. I was like, what happened? And then I looked at her body, and all she's wearing is pants. It's like, it's
Oh.
cold here. It's really cold here. Why would you not be wearing...
I bet she forgot. She
God.
probably took off the stuff that she was wearing before we loaded into that area and just didn't put it all back on. But
It's because she's so reliant on the otter, so...
yeah, she usually has an otter, and you can only take 20 dinos in. So I ended up taking. She had a pack of 4 T-Rexes, and I had them follow me. But then the boss is like up some stairs, like up a ramp and some stairs, and kind of around a corner. But there's nothing on either side of those stairs. Like, it's just a void, basically. And so when we were like, fine, let's just run in, because we're all dying, and the boss will not run to us. So we ran in, and like half the dinos were like, I'll just take this shortcut over the void, because I don't understand gravity. So
We lost 3 direwolves. 3 of Red's direwolves decided to just run off the edge.
he has such
It went
poor
whoop.
luck with them.
Yeah, so we lost 3 direwolves, we lost 2 T-Rexes, and we lost 2 raptors.
Raptors, yeah.
Yeah,
Big
they all
defensive,
just decided to.
passing.
Yeah, they all decided to take the shortcut. And Red has a bad habit of losing direwolves.
Yeah.
I think
It's
he's
always
lost
the stuff
several.
like that. Like, it's just
He lost
environmental
them to
factors.
the lava, and he lost them to falling off the cliff. So
Yeah. Yeah. He's just, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't really blame them. They're dinosaurs. They don't understand gravity. But I don't understand why the pathing decided it should go that direction. Like, that's just... You shouldn't be surprised. This is the kind of programming you expect from games like Ark. So,
Yeah, true that.
But we did it. We killed it. It was great, what else.
It's just
We
a
got
poor
one more
design,
boss to
though.
go.
Like, I get the whole idea of to make the people scared that they might fall off trying to fight this thing or trying to head to that thing. I don't understand not making it to where the pathing for the dinosaurs are like, I shouldn't do this, and then just
Like, there's just no self-preservation programmed in, I
Needs
just
to
run
make,
with
like,
abandon
baby
into the
bumpers.
abyss. Literally.
But yeah, we got that one down. So now we've got 2 banners raised in front of the house. We have 1 more to go, and we had a crazy taming system last night because the last boss is a dragon, and it's ridiculously fucking hard. The other 2 are just babies compared to this last one. It's also like 4 times bigger than the giant monkey or the other one. It eclipses both of the other 2 pretty easily. And the best way to do it is to get a bunch of Theranors.
The feathery things with the giant claws that look like they're really scary, but they'll eat berries. I actually named one I eat berries, and I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah, so Grif basically would fly out with the Quetzal, pick one up, bring it back to the water base. I would shoot it while it's in the air, and it would drop. We had about 6 of them taming at one time. I just run around, give it berries and narcotics, and just keep feeding it, and we'd just tame them.
At one point, chickens having to, like, air traffic control me and be like, okay, over this way, because we couldn't, like, we didn't want to stack them on top of each other when they went to sleep, and I can't really tell on the Quetzal because that thing is huge. I'm like, okay, is this good? So that its body would go to sleep and fall down into a vacant spot, essentially. Like we had a parking lot of sleeping things. Oh, it was really funny. But we got
a few of them.
8, I think.
8 of them?
I want to say it was 8.
And the reason why you want them for the dragon is, 1, they're fire resistant, so all the fire that they get dealt, they take a lot less damage. They won't just keel over. And 2, they have a special trait, which if they have sweet vegetable cakes in their inventory, when they drop below 70% health, they'll eat a vegetable cake and regen like 10% of their health and another 10% over like 5 seconds. Yeah. So you just stack them up with sweet vegetable cakes, and you hope that they survive long enough so that you could kill the dragon before it just annihilates you. Yeah. So
I wonder how long it took somebody to figure that shit out.
I know, right?
Yeah, because it's like, it's not just, hey, it's got to be this because it's fire resistant. I think anybody can figure that out over time. But it's got to be a sweet vegetable cake.
And yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. So. I mean, we're also going to get a couple of the boars from the north because they like do have health regen buff for everybody. We'll see how long they last. They're probably going to get incinerated. Like, they'll be bacon in the first 2 minutes of the fight.
I think what's going to happen is that we're going to have 2 people riding on them so that they could avoid the rest of them and have the claw ones following them, like 2 packs of claw ones following them, so that when the dragon comes down, the person will shoot them and all the claw ones will go and attack him.
It's going to be very
strategic. The dragon's a whole different level from the other 2. From what I have read, it's like easy, you're going to get wrecked.
Can't wait.
Okay.
Can't
so
wait.
I'm wondering if you couldn't take 2 of the feathery ones you're talking about and put them in front of your boars to act as almost like a fire shield, if you will, and just have like 2 at each one.
From what I understand, it's like the fireballs rain down, so it would retarget based on that. So I don't know if you could keep them.
It flies around. It flies around the whole arena and shoots fireballs down at you. So.
That'd be a nice idea if they would stay up in front of you, but I think because they're following you, they'll end up behind you anyway.
It also has a flame breath in which it incinerates anything in front of it, so it'll basically burn the 2 and they'll take less damage, but it'll hit the 2 behind it too, and anything else in the cone.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like,
it's gonna be fun.
I am not looking forward to this one.
I don't know when we're gonna get to try it out though, because this coming week on Tuesday is when Burning Crusade launches, so we'll be playing a lot of Warcraft and trying to level
Crusade
up.
launches? How is that possible? I've got a collector's edition right here.
It's like knowing the future, because you don't know how many times this week I've already said when we get to Wrath of the Lich King. It's like being able to see the future. Like, I know there will be another expansion after this and what it is and what to plan for, you know?
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait for Wrath of the Lich King. I'm going to enjoy the shit out of TBC right now. Then I'm going to get Wrath of the Lich King, and then I'm going to call it quits.
That's where everybody, like, that's the golden age of WoW, and then, you know, you don't need anything after that. Cataclysm, what?
I will stop playing WoW again at Wrath of the Lich King. I will put him on the old server, and I will stay there.
Forever, never, never. This is where you live now.
I don't care for Cataclysm or anything after that. So
I don't know. But then it also doesn't.
How many people are going to stop at Lich King and just stay in that era versus how many people are going to keep going into?
It depends on how far they go with it, because I mean,
I
I don't know if they're gonna remake Warlords of Draenor. That was a really low point for them. Although Legion was another high point, so I don't know. I can't see them redoing the whole series, right?
You know, I bet money this is because they keep doing the forms to fill out the surveys at the end towards each of expansion to see how people are feeling and what they want. I bet money that at the end of Wrath of the Lich King, people are gonna be like, do you want Cataclysm or do you want something different in Wrath? And everyone's gonna be like, give me more Wrath. Show me what else you got in the toolbox for this.
Show me what
We'll
you
keep
got.
subscribing. Give me something new.
Yeah, I don't
Because we don't
need
want to
it.
keep going forward.
Would you be upset? And I'm just thinking outside the box because I think it would be a cool idea to do, just because I know how a lot of you feel about retail, and after Wrath you kind of went downhill type thing. So would you be mad if they went and we're gonna create an alternate universe we're gonna create a totally different thing after Wrath that's built on that whole, you know, like what people liked about this, we're gonna try to go that path? Would you try it, or would you just stay where you're at?
EverQuest did something kind of similar when they did EverQuest 2. It's basically like another timeline.
My concern, though, is we know how Blizzard's writing has gone. Do you expect that just because they decided to splinter off at Wrath and do a secondary timeline that it would literally be any better? Because I don't. I mean, I feel like we kind of know what we're looking at.
It depends on how much they keep intact of the original vision. Like, if the people that are working on Classic can keep that vision of why people like to play that, then it can go in a good direction. Because, again, it's two different player bases. You want the casual, day-to-day chore style, where it's just focused on in-game, and then you want the adventure story, like... The way it is retail is almost a seasonal based game where every patch you're restarting, you're getting the next set of gear and whatnot. You're always chasing that next piece, where in Classic, it's when you progress, you have progressed, and then you unlock the next phase and you progress. There is an end. Like, you can get as strong as you can at the end of the patch, and then you wait till the next patch and you can upgrade your stuff. It's not like restarting every patch where you're doing the same dungeons just looking for that next item level of the same gear.
Well, speaking of dungeons,
or doing the
we
next
already know.
mythic keystone.
Yeah.
So
We already know we're going to be in dungeons for a while. We have a list of like the best way to dungeon grind to get rep and level to 70. We have to go to some of them like 15, 18 times. Like Black Morass is one that none of us like. It's a swamp. It's basically a horde mode in a swamp. And we have to do that 18 times. And I'm not looking forward to it.
Is it just because of the drops they have in it, or is it because
the grind for the rep and the XP that you get out of it is superior to what you're going to get for running around and doing quests, essentially? Like, you could get the same thing doing quests. It's just going to take you longer, and since we're not really on a timeline, but Chicken and I are raid officers, so we kind of under a little pressure to get to cap level faster so that we can start getting things in line for raid and everything, which that's been a lot of fun. By the way, I got to keep our raid name. We're Team Unicorn. Yeah.
yes.
Much to the dismay of some of the other people in the guild. Sorry, guys. But it's gonna be a fun time, I think. It's just gonna be... There's gonna be some slog to get there. Especially, like, almost literally, because we'll be standing in a swamp for 18 full runs.
I mean, story-wise, it's super neat, because that dungeon specifically it basically showcases the very beginning of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Like, because it's Medivh, it's the movie. If anybody's seen the movie, it's Medivh opening the dark portal to let the Horde reinforcements come in, and in the story sense, the Black Dragon, or the evil dragon brood, is trying to stop him, which will basically throw the timeline into disarray and nothing will happen. Your job is to protect him and let Medivh open the dark portal and destroy the world, which I know it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you gotta let the world be destroyed on this one, so we'll help you destroy the world, but just this once.
Just this once.
I guess Illidan was right. I guess we are the bad guys.
Oh my god. Illidan's always been right about us.
That name should have been Illidan did nothing wrong.
Illidan, nothing.
We'll be talking a
yeah.
lot about WoW in the upcoming weeks, so get ready for that. Don't worry though, because we do have like things like E3, which means we'll probably cut our WoW talk short a little bit. So, yay!
I mean, there's not going to be
Yay.
much. It's like we ran dungeons all week.
Well, I played Mass
that's
Effect.
it.
I finished the first Mass Effect. Before I have to do nothing but WoW. I was like, I really wish I could get through all 3 before we had to do... No, there's just no chance. There's not. There's too much going on in life. But I did. I finished the first one. Yay! And then the second one, and I was like, no, I don't want to stop playing it, but I have to. Because you're like, I get to finally hang out with Garrus again. That's the first thing that I did in that game. I was like, you load up Mass Effect 2, bad things happen, you gotta put the team back together. Well, who are you gonna go for first? Well, I know who Archangel is, so I'm gonna go get him. Garrus. Garrus is my bro. I need him. I didn't realize, though, how much I bonded with Joker until this run. Like, I know I liked him, but it was one of those things where it's like, man, I love this dude just so much. Like, I'm so glad he's part of my team. So, I like him.
I feel like he comes into his own in the second one too, though. The first one he was, though a character that's important, is like second one. I felt more attached to him.
I feel like I bond more
I completely
with him.
agree.
Because in the first one, he's kind of got a chip on his shoulder. Like, he's got something to prove to everybody, and I kind of identify with that. So, I guess it just hit differently this time around. And I bonded a lot with him in the first one, and then the second one, like, he's one of the first people to get back on your team. And I was like, yes, this feels right. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad I have somebody on my side.
To be fair, like, I think the second is superior out of all 3 of them, but I like that one the most.
I mean, in the second one, I get Space Husband, so I'm not going to disagree with that. I can't. You just can't. What about you, Baka and Oak? What have you guys been doing?
I played a little bit more Returnal. Got really far into it. A little bit down to this much. I had the boss down to this much. Had unlocked just about every freaking room. Got him down to this much, and then
Died.
I went to dodge. It does this sweep where it comes at you and like goes to hit you. And I was doing great dodging, but it hit me twice in a row and dead. And
Did you walk away?
I was like, I'm good. Biomutant comes out on Tuesday. We're good for a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because at that point, I've been playing for 4 hours to get all that stuff unlocked and build that character
and then
up.
it's
Because there's no... Yeah, and then it's like, all right, and move on. But I wasn't mad. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I was just laughing because I was just like, damn it, really? Because it was all the rest of the game made it to where you got to that point, you were fine with it. The room that kept wrecking me for a long time that I knew to avoid, I started going into that room and destroying everything that was in it. So I was, and it helped build your character a little bit more. But it really is RNG. It's one of those where if you either get lucky with some of the drops or you don't. And so it's kind of difficult to know how you're going to do before you get to the boss. But then I started Biomutant. I really enjoyed Biomutant so far. I'm not that far into it. I'm about 4 hours into the game, but and the first 2 hours is basically a tutorial.
Nice.
It's a long tutorial.
Yeah, the character creation, the way that they built it, anybody that is gonna play it, all I can tell you is this: when you see your first set of characters that's on there, and you switch through the different character types and the way that they look, base the character head and body on how you want to play the game. I want my character to look like this. Don't look at the stats on the right hand side. Because the next screen you're going to go to is move some of those stats around. And then the next screen you're going to go to is to be able to decide what kind of gameplay you have. Whether you're more of a sniper style, melee style, somewhere in between. And they've got a little bit of other options on there too. And so you can kind of decide how you want to play the game. Also, as you level, the game is set up to where you can increase your character in each category by 10 as you choose, and it's not hard to level.
Okay.
So you can go in and be like, okay, well, everything else is a 28, but this is a 17. Let me add 10 to this. Now I'm completely even. And now it didn't matter what you did for the character creation at the start. It's just kind of giving you a bonus. If you wanted more intellect or you wanted more strength or whatever, you could do that if you wanted to at the beginning.
Up to your discretion.
But I just made mine neutral pretty much all the way across, and it's real easy to kind of decide from there what you want to do. Because honestly, as you play the game, you might change what you're originally thinking too.
I can see that. It's nice to have that flexibility, actually.
Yeah. And then there's also in the character creation as well, you've got patterns for the fur, and then you have colors that are, and they're backwards. It's so weird to me on how they did this. They put the accent color first. So if you've got spots, we'll say the spot color is first, and then the fur color is second instead of the other way around.
That's dumb. That's stupid.
And I was
Weird.
Why?
I was like, why would you have not put the fur color first, and then I know what accent color I want after that, but whatever. But overall, like, the storyline, it does handhold you a good bit at the beginning. That goes back to that 2-hour-long tutorial, basically. They do get into the background of the character, because when you first start up, you have no idea why you're where you're at. You know what's going on in the world, but you don't know why you're back. And then it starts to kind of progress back into your history of the character to get to the point of what you're actually fighting for. So it's kind of, and you do play through the flashbacks, which I thought was nice. Instead of them just showing like a cinematic, you actually got to play through the flashback part of it, which is nice. So you can kind of see how these characters are. If you're not a fan of puns, be prepared. There's a lot of puns.
Don't give me that
Can I
shit.
turn that down somehow? I mean, I know there's like sliders for like how much the narrator talks to you and things like that. Like, can I?
And my
turn
narrator
the puns
set
down?
it 100%, and I'm dropping him down to 50, which is the default. I would recommend everybody to put it at 100, so you know how often it's being taught, so you can kind of figure out where you want to drop it to. But I actually like the narrator because your character doesn't talk, but everybody else speaks gibberish. So he works as your translator. So if they're talking, and they did a really good job of this, I think, compared to other games, like compared to like Banjo-Kazooie and things like that, where they have like a wah 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 sound to them. Instead, this sounds like a real language, and he's translating the language, and which I liked, instead of just noise being made. But he kind of tells you what they're saying, but he doesn't do it verbatim. Like it's one of those where he's like, what he's asking you is this, you know, and
I
then
don't know if I'm gonna like that.
yeah, and then the other thing about it is the with those languages, the gibberish sound, you can turn down how much that's being talked to. So I'm thinking that what that'll do is cut down on how long those conversations are. Not your end of it, but their end of it, on how long they're having to talk. Because then I've got both turned up to 100%, which I'm gonna probably drop them both to 50, which I think is default for both. So, because I think it's a little too much. Just a little bit.
I'm still on the fence about it. Like I know, like, here's my thing is Oak and Chicken talked about it on, I want to say Friday. And Oak thinks I will like it, and Chicken thinks I will not. And things like your character doesn't talk and there's no actual language aside from the narrator makes me worry that Chicken is right, because I will have a hard time attaching to my character or the world around it, because I can't directly, make that connection. It has to go through an unseen third party.
I'm pretty good at knowing what you like and what you don't like, and from what I've seen of Biomutant, it is just not your cup of tea. I tried to sell her on it before it came out, because what I did see, I thought she would like. But seeing it after release and whatnot, and the bigger picture, I do not think it is her cup of tea. It just does not have what she wants.
Do you still think you'll like it? I mean, I think that's the more important
Oh,
question,
yeah.
because I was already on the fence. Like, you were already sold, so...
Oh yeah, because sometimes like I could look past the character side of things and focus on the gameplay, and the gameplay looks really fun. Like, I liked Breath of the Wild. That would not be your cup of tea either.
I tried it. I didn't like it.
Exactly. Like, I like Breath of the Wild, those huge open world collection crafting style games, I'm probably gonna like Biomutant too.
Yeah, I
But
think
it's
based
just
on
not
what Oak
you're
said, this
looking for.
definitely sounds like something you would enjoy.
So
Like the combat
oh,
and
yeah.
everything.
Because it's been forever since I played. Does your character in Fallout actually talk?
In Fallout? Fallout 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Your character
Okay.
talks a lot.
There's an actual.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the whole
Yeah.
point. Is like, because basically all I remember from it is like when you're having a conversation, is the is having the will to decide what it is that you're going to say to the person,
yeah.
which is the same thing with this.
But the
If
difference
you
is...
want
And
to-
then they're just responding to what you're saying.
Yeah, but they're responding
Hold on. If you
to
want,
it
if
through
you want to
third
use a
party.
game, if you want a game that you want to compare to this, use Dragon Age Origin, which
Well,
your main
yeah,
character
but that's what
does
I was
not
about
talk.
to say.
But
in Dragon
everybody
Age
else
Origins,
talks.
yeah, all the NPCs still interact with you as though you had directly said whatever it was that you picked. It's just your protagonist wasn't voiced. Everything around you was. So I could still like attach to an Alistair or to a Wen and things like that because they had personality in their voice and I could get what I needed out of them even though my character didn't have like an actual speaking line, and because I could pick it and interact with them, I can hear in my own head how my protagonist would have said that line versus this, which is, well, it's not a direct translation, it's a bunch of gibberish, but the narrator said the gist of it is they want to know, do you like candy? Like,
It's
I
also
don't know if I
part
can-
of the
is all
reason.
different. The gibberish,
also
I'm
part of
telling
the
you, the
reason.
gibberish is based on the character. No character sounds.
Well, but that's fine. It's still not a thing where I can one-to-one have a conversation with them. I can't click, pick my chat choice is like, I like Starburst, and then the character's like, oh, that's cool, I really like M&Ms. I'm gonna get a narrator that goes, okay, after the 5 seconds that you just heard, they said they like M&Ms. I mean, it's not the same as like a one-to-one connection because it's got to go through something else.
The
Like, it's
best
an
example
inventive
that I
way
can
to
put
do it. I
is-
think it's neat, but I don't know that
well, but I
that's
think you could just
mine.
eliminate the gibberish at that point. You could put it to 0 at that point.
You put it that side, but again, she's a super big fan of Far Cry games. She's never played Far Cry Primal. It also has similar problems where the people do not speak in a language that you can understand clearly. It's a subtitle-based game. She does not like subtitles.
I don't dislike
Let me tell you.
subtitles.
She does not like subtitles. I put subtitles on everything because I am hard of hearing, so it's a lot easier for me. If we have the option, no
subtitles
subtitles.
have to be on when I'm playing. Period.
I like subtitles because it helps me give more context.
My problem with subtitles is my attention span. I can listen to what they're saying, but I am 100% distracted by reading the subtitle instead of just listening to them. And so sometimes the context gets lost on me because I'm doing that split attention. And it's a me problem. I understand it's a me problem. I'm sorry.
How do you watch anime?
I was about to say, unless it's a Korean soap opera, and
Well, no,
then
it's
she's down
different
with
if
it.
it's a language that I actually can't understand. And that's why, like, anime has trained me to read the subtitles so closely that even if it's a language I can't understand, my brain is still watching the subtitle instead. I can't stop myself. So I find it, I find it distracting, but I understand why they're important, and I don't mind watching stuff or, playing stuff with Chicken where we do have the subtitles on because I understand why he needs it and everything, and that doesn't bother me. But if I'm playing something by myself, especially something that I want to immerse in to attach to a character or something like that, I want to turn them off.
Hey, to each their own. You're more audio sensitive than some, so.
I don't know. I'm going to watch Chicken play
Everybody
it,
has
though,
preference.
because there's still a chance that I might like it. And I know he's going to get it
but
at
I
some
think that's a
point.
better way of doing it too, because if you get an opportunity to watch somebody play it, and it's somebody like Chicken that you enjoy watching play games anyway, that you can watch it and go, okay, now I get it, or what the hell, no, I'm not going to.
Well, and watching him play stuff like that is sometimes he can pick out the nuggets of things that I will like that I might not be paying attention to while I'm watching him. So he can be like, see that's a thing you'll like. And he's usually right.
So I need to go back to episode 325 after we get all of this posted and whatnot. And when I play Biomutant, I'm going to be like, see, this is why I'm always right, is because I can point out things like this really far in advance.
Oh, we'll
I
see.
guarantee it's just not going to be
He's
your
putting
cup of
off
tea.
buying Biomutant because we are about to do WoW stuff and he doesn't want to buy it and
Yes.
have it sitting there staring at him. So
So it'll probably
it'll
be
just
a
be a
fall
little
thing.
while, yeah.
But it is definitely on
we'll
my
let you
radar.
know when he does play it, how it goes.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
I'll even
That's why I'm
stream it and
marking,
I'll be able to say
three-
yes or no.
325. Episode 325 is where I said Grif won't like it. There are times that I'm wrong. They are far and in between.
I didn't mean
but
to
there are
derail
times-
Oak's thing, by the way. Was there other games that you want to talk about? I'm sorry.
I mean, that was it. I mean, that's all I played. I played some Apex, and we enjoyed playing the 3v3 on it. That was basically it. I didn't know we were having a competition on who was right and wrong at the end of the day, but whatever.
Hey, we are.
I didn't know there was a competition.
It always boils down
But
to
now
who's
he's
right.
the one that's like, I'm gonna go back to 325 and prove that I was right.
Oh, that's just
I was
chicken.
like, who
How have you not
cares?
learned this?
I was
by
about
now?
to say that's just me.
Gotta have
on,
that
now.
kind of thing.
Everything's a competition.
What about you, Baka? What have
Everything.
you been playing?
I downloaded and played Maneater for like a
That's
day.
the shark game, right? Is it fun?
Yeah. It's pretty fun to go through. Like, I'm kind of glad I just downloaded it and played through it and was kind of
It's on
done.
Game Pass right now, right?
Yeah, I think that's how he
Yes.
played it. Is it short?
Yeah.
You said I sent you a message at one point. You're like, "Yeah, let me finish this game," and I was like, "I didn't even know you were playing a new game. Is it short, or had you just been playing it and I didn't know it?"
I mean, I beat it in like a day. So
Oh, so short.
I thought it was a
Oh, wow.
multiplayer game.
yeah. It's not. Basically the game feels like if you took some of those old Newground games or whatever and expanded on it
Wow.
a little bit.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow.
Well, it's got pretty good graphics, but it's just like the story and everything is very basic.
Basic bitch.
I
Well,
mean, you're a
the
shark.
story
eat
also
people.
has some humor to it because it's kind of like a mockumentary style.
So what you're saying is try it on
like
Game Pass.
a camera. Yeah, it's if you when you go through the story, it kind of like it kind of reminds me of Deadliest Catch,
The show?
the TV show. Yeah,
Okay.
except they're shark hunters and instead.
Oh.
And so there's a quote unquote film crew going around following a dude in his boat and him killing sharks, and you are the baby of a shark that he killed, and when he gutted you out from your mom, like
Oh my
he
god.
bit his hand off, and he threw you in the water. So like the whole plot is basically a revenge story for him killing your mom.
Wow.
Wow.
Kind of like Jaws.
It's like a gritty reboot
So-
of Baby Shark.
So is this? I was kind of confused because I watched a few streamers when it was popular playing it. So does your shark mutate, or do you
Yeah.
become others? Okay.
Like
I know there's, like, electrical
the
shocks
base
and
of
weird
what
shit
you
happens.
are is a bull shark, but as you go through the game, I mean there's chests and other things you get that have questionable material in them.
So it's like
So,
you're eating
and
radiation essentially to get these new
Yeah.
powers?
Radioactive material.
And
You're a shark,
as
what do
you
you
level and as you kill bosses and progress through the game, you get more and more abilities. You basically get either like a bone armor style setup, which you can put on your fins, body, head, tail,
This thing's weird.
or change your teeth.
So are the bosses human, or are some of them in the water as well?
So some of them are in the water. Like one of the bosses is a killer whale that you go into,
Oh.
like a SeaWorld arena thing to kill.
Oh my god, why?
Oh my god.
Like why?
Oh, this game escalated quickly. What the fuck?
One of them is like a crocodile early on when you're just a baby shark.
This seems like a mini game in Saints Row.
It
I'm
does.
not gonna lie.
It really does. It seems
It's a
like somebody
Newgrounds
said-
game.
Yeah, somebody's like, I got this idea for a
mean-
mini game. Let's make it the full thing.
That's basically what it is. Like, if you have Game Pass, I would recommend like taking a day, go playing it, and just have some fun with it. But like I didn't go around collecting every little thing in it just because that doesn't really do much, unfortunately, other than just like, oh well, I collected things. The only thing extra that I did was I got my notoriety up in the game so that way I can get all the special human characters and kill them. Because then it unlocked the rest of the bioelectrical parts, so that way I can use that for going against the boss.
Huh.
Okay.
Okay.
This
That's a
game
game.
is not what I expected from it. Like, I expected it to
No.
kind of be wacky and weird, but it's got, like... I hate to be like this about it, but it kind of sounds like it's getting close to Jumping the Shark.
Yeah.
Dude.
And this is the one that's like, can I turn off the puns?
That's not a pun!
It is in this case.
Yeah,
That's what
we're
you
talking about a
phrase.
shark game.
But it's the...
And you
what
just
else
said
do you
jumping-
say it? What's the
I've done that.
non-metaphor way to say that?
Was there multiplayer in it?
There's no multiplayer.
Missed opportunity. Shark fight.
The thing. The
Or-
thing
or
that
people on the
the
boat.
game reminds me of is if any of you ever played it, it was on the Xbox, but I have it on PS2. The Jaws game they made.
They made a Jaws
where
game?
it's like, okay,
I never
Yes.
played it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember seeing
it's
it.
like a goofier, more updated version of that. And because I mean, Jaws was basically just kind of almost the same thing of like you just go swimming from area to area and killing people and fish and whales and whatever else is down there and you know getting leveling up and then getting abilities and
Oh my god.
I mean even in the Jaws game there's a one of the boss fights is go into the aquarium and kill a whale.
Oh.
So
That's
it's
just
like
sad. They don't even have a chance. They live in an aquarium. Their life is bad enough. Why are you being a dick?
Right?
the game told me to.
I mean, you're just playing,
That's
playing the
sound
game
logic.
mechanics.
But I did that. I did some tanking on the Pally and WoW and made 50 gold helping a bunch of warlocks get their epic mounts because the warrior last night the warrior they had gotten for it well, it was only like 58. He was one of the boosted character had no idea what he was doing.
Oh no.
Had no gear for this in DM West. So one of the guildies was like, "Hey, I need a tank because this guy is just we can't do it, and we're trying to get these guys their epic mount." So it's like, yeah, okay, I'm not doing anything. Everyone else went to bed. So I popped in there and helped clear through and tank it, and the block in the guild gave me 50 gold out of the cut for it.
Woo, rich.
But I've done that, and then I've been leveling the pet in WoW, which is like 45, which I need to do dungeons because trying to grind on mobs out in the wild at this point, it takes way too long.
We got plenty
I
of
just
guildies.
need to
Just
go through.
hit them up. We got a bunch now. Like 90 people.
Yeah, but
Take your pick. Surely somebody will help you. I'm not saying that I won't. I'm a healer. I can't do anything for you, so just saying.
well, I was gonna see if Chicken wanted to tanks later. That way,
To be fair, I do need a little practice with the new shit. I was just playing around when I was beating him up in duels last night, so I didn't know.
I did not do horrible though.
No, not until I tried there at the end where I chased you around.
Yeah, well, because my tank gear on the Pally is just like a hodgepodge of whatever I could get my hands on.
To be
because
fair,
it
it's
was
not a
like,
bad
well,
set of
either-
gear. You just need a
Yeah,
better
yeah.
shield. That's about it.
But I like when he actually started using some of his tanking abilities, I couldn't hit him.
Yeah.
The only
Like-
things that could hit him were my like holy attacks, but none of my physical damage were going through.
Yeah, my shield was so strong. Every time he would hit me and I would block, it would do nothing. Because, I mean, that's just how much block. I've got almost 300 block. Which means any physical attack that hits me and I block it, it reduces that damage by 300. And he was not hitting me for over that, so it would block the entire attack. So I wasn't taking any damage. So that's how that works. 40 minutes in, and we're just now getting to the news part of it, but that's okay.
Because there's not much
Okay.
news.
Yeah.
It's really not news at all. It's just a lot of little, just a mix of stuff and things. Nothing really of like, oh my god. So, I mean, where do we want to even get started? It's just a bunch of random stuff.
I mean, you could just like pick one, and it'd be about the same as far as jumping in points because nothing's connected. to anything.
I'll throw this in there since we just went in from WoW. BlizzCon 2021 is not going to happen. Blizzard's canceling it. They said that they don't have enough time to be able to do anything for a physical event, and they plan on doing one in 2022 at some point. We'll see.
I'm throwing this in there.
Okay.
Blizzard is canceling it. No, Activision Blizzard is canceling it. And
Same company.
my chicken and I
Sorry,
had to.
same company.
I know,
So it
but
is the same
there's
company.
a different feel. It's not Blizzard anymore because those people all left and they're starting their own studio elsewhere. This is, what we've got the leftovers. But Chicken and I had a conversation about whether or not there would be another in-person BlizzCon after something like this. And my guess is no. WoW doesn't make the kind of money that it used to for Activision Blizzard, and the people that go to BlizzCon are not the same audience that are playing Call of Duty, so you're not getting a whole lot out of showing off your other Activision games at that. So I imagine this will stay as an online thing to cut costs until they just run out of interest, essentially. Because Activision already goes to bigger events like E3, the Game Awards, things like that. They have other avenues.
Yeah, they'll bring Activision Blizzard to those events from now on, and try to make Blizzard games more mainstream.
Yeah, well,
Based on like our friend Maldus goes every year to BlizzCon.
when
based
until they don't
on-
have them.
Well, but he's been every year for BlizzCon, and based on what he says they do there, like they're not just so like if you go to a regular con, you might have 5 computers or 15 computers that you can play a new game that's coming out, where they'll have rooms of hundreds of PCs sitting inside, and people are playing whatever the new material is that they're trying to get out on BlizzCon. I don't disagree with the whole Activision versus Blizzard thing for sure. But I will be interested to see if they don't combine an event and Activision just decides we're not going to go to any of these other stuff when we have this massive BlizzCon that's very popular, and we'll just add the Activision crowd in with it, which is going to be horrible because Call of Duty crowd and Blizzard crowd, not the same type of people.
No. And I'm going to throw this in there. First of all, their plan is to hold another event early part of next year, unlike February's digital-only BlizzCon online. However, the goal for 2022 is to create a global event that combines both an online show and smaller in-person gatherings.
So they're
Which
going to do a lot of
means
remote shots.
No big BlizzCon singular event, because if you look at it from Activision's standpoint, BlizzCon is not a good investment. Because it does not, like, yeah, you sell tickets and whatnot, but I'm pretty sure that they do not make much money off of BlizzCon. Like, it is not something that brings in a ton of money, and it brings some exposure, but you could get that kind of exposure just going to E3, where somebody else is paying for the big overarching show, and then you just get to come in, show off, and you get the same publicity without having
Part
to
of a
front
whole
that
versus
big.
being the whole.
Yeah.
Exactly, where you don't have to front that big cost and kind of take a small gain out of that over the same kind of thing where you could just do from E3.
They
Like,
can almost combine that, like not make it BlizzCon, but do like you're talking about. But the complaint that everybody has is that 10 to 15 computers, they could have a theater of their own that they've rented out.
exactly.
And have the main E3 be where they have all their conversations and do all their presentations for the world for digitally and all that, and then have this theater where you've got 150 PCs in it, and they've probably saved themselves hundreds of thousands of dollars just on that alone.
Yeah, they just call it BlizzCon Mobile, where they go to all the other cons and set up their own big
Mobile.
staging area and show their stuff. Like, I really don't want it to be the end of BlizzCon, but I really think it is the end of BlizzCon. I don't think that Activision is going to be all gung ho to be ready to spend that much money on an event that they don't profit from as much, because as we have seen very clearly, Activision Blizzard is about the profits, which
Money.
it's a business, so I understand that. But I think there are alternate ways that Activision can persuade them to do it a different way.
But I also think part of the reason why on that, and if I'm looking at it from Activision's standpoint, Blizzard is limited on what they have.
Yes.
So basically, the people that you would be catering to BlizzCon are only there for Blizzard games anyway, and there's not that many options.
Yeah.
So Diablo 4, we have no clue when that's coming out. We've got the not remaster version of Diablo 2 coming out. We've got we know that we've got Overwatch 2 that's supposed to be coming out, but I don't expect it until probably 2023 anyway, but whatever. And you know, I think you're right on that. I mean, it's a good possibility, but they're going to figure out a way to save money. The best way to do it is to become part of somebody else's something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like, when you think of Blizzard, what do you think of now? Like, think of WoW and Overwatch.
Maybe Overwatch, because even now you say Blizzard and most people are like,
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, like that's it.
I think World of Warcraft. You might get somebody for StarCraft, but it's, you know, everything's free to play now for StarCraft. So
yeah, let's see what they have. They have World of Warcraft. They have Hearthstone. They have Diablo. They have Heroes of the Storm, and they have StarCraft. But whenever you think about them now, oh yeah, Overwatch. I mean, but all they have now, like, all their titles are just, I hate to be like it, but are just dying. Like, their biggest IP right now is their game from fucking 15, 16 Classic, years ago. Yeah, it's like Classic is their big hype train that everybody gets on now. It's like,
yeah,
you know that there's something wrong internally with Blizzard when the biggest thing that you could hype up is something from 15 years ago.
And they could almost, it really, based on the way that they've been doing everything, they could literally just go every 4 years we're gonna have an actual BlizzCon. And then you just present little stuff like every other studio does throughout the other years, and then you have this major BlizzCon where you have your announcements.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be able to save money instead of doing it every year. You just do it.
And people would show up in droves just because of WoW, basically, but because Blizzard has that fan base.
Oh yeah, and once every 4 years, the demand to go is going to skyrocket, because it's not like, if I miss it this year, I'll go next year. It's like, no, if you miss it this year, you got to wait half a decade to go to the next one. So
right.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's a developing story. Stay tuned.
We'll come back to those.
We'll come back. 325 is being visited for everything now.
Yes.
So another quickie news. It's on there. 8 years after it was originally supposed to start, J.J. Abrams' Portal movie is finally getting started, which is weird to talk about a Portal game now in 2021 and it's not even started yet.
You mean a Portal movie?
Movie, yeah, Portal movie.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is did they put out another game to tie into the movie?
It's probably going to be another alternate. It's going to be an alternate universe. People, come on! They're going to have GLaDOS.
Well, I was thinking it might be a prequel where they focus on, because we already know a lot of the previous information from Portal 2 and that part where you fall into the old factory. I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be that, like, we actually get to see what happens with Cave Johnson and how we get to GLaDOS.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Really good set.
Give me Cave Johnson narrating the whole damn movie. I'll watch it.
Be funny. And you know, J.J. Abrams, great filmmaker. Be interested to see what he ends up doing with it, though. Will it be a good video game movie? Maybe not.
I think as long as they keep the story simple, because I would like to see the fall of Aperture Science. Like, I want to see where it just fell down and then, you know, it got left to what it is, or some sort of tie into Black Mesa, or because they want to open up the Half-Life universe, and the Aperture Science is supposed to be in the same universe as the Half-Life, so, you know, we'll see where they want to go, because they still want to make the Half-Life movies too. So I just keep it simple for the first movie. Don't try to get forehead about it, and just
The
keep it
Valve
simple.
cinematic universe.
Yeah, the Valve cinematic universe. Yes,
See,
Left
they
4
should have
Dead
done
is
that before
in
they
the far
started selling
future.
movies.
Yes.
It's like movies should have created the cinematic universe first.
Yes.
Uh,
I'm excited to see what they have to offer. I'll
I wanna
probably
know what
watch
it
it
came out.
regardless. Yeah.
Probably better than the
in other
Borderlands
Valve-
movie.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The in other Valve news, though, we do have supposedly a Switch-like handheld PC that Valve seems to be working on, and I can't unsee this. The fact that people are nicknaming this the Game Boy.
No.
And I was like, you gotta call it that now. Like, it's
No.
there.
Please no.
But it'll be a Linux-based system supposedly, which makes sense. That's what their consoles they were working on in the past were supposed to be, was Linux-based. But I would be very interested to see how powerful this machine is and what they could actually do with it. But if you can play your Steam library portably,
I mean,
be
come
great.
on. First of all, they are the ones to kind of move that technology forward. They're always trying to innovate in some style like that, and they saw an opportunity to enter the market because is Sony competing with Nintendo in their hardware? No. Is Microsoft competing with Nintendo with their hardware? No. Nintendo's got that market for handheld consoles pinned. Valve's like, we're really good with
And
hardware.
Nintendo has had
We can
that
see.
market for forever, and anyone that has ever tried competing with them has lost. Like,
It's mostly
Nobody
been Sony
has been
with
as
the
big as
PSP.
Valve, though. Yeah, like nobody has been as
but
big as
once
Valve to
they
compete with
did
them.
the PSP, the Go, and the Vita, it just completely dropped.
Yeah.
but I also would
best
say
run
that's
with
Sony
the
not
PSP.
supporting their product as well. They were
That is
horrible at supporting
definitely part of
PSP
it,
and the
too.
PS Vita.
Yeah.
But I think that
Well,
in this particular case,
even then, the Vita, most of the games on it that were being released were garbage.
Mhm.
yeah, except for
That's
what
not
was it,
support.
the Tear game, whatever that one was.
I think it was
It's
called
got a lot of
Tear
reviews.
or something.
Was it called Tear?
I don't remember.
So that and the Uncharted game was okay, but everything else was just like, this is crap. The
Yeah.
PSP had lots of good third party support. It had fantastic RPG games on it. The shooters weren't really all that good because of the one analog stick thing, but
Yeah, that was weird.
tons of other games were great on it.
Well, but
Yeah,
but I think that part of the thing is too they focused on an Eastern market instead of a Western market for that one.
Yeah.
And in Vita, I just don't feel like they supported that one at all. It was just they had that one good game, and that was basically it.
You can
And
play
but the other
Spelunky
thing,
on
what
Vita.
yeah, there you go. What I feel though on this one, what I'm worried about is if you remember, they were trying to do the console, they went out and they said, hey, all of y'all could create a console. You had an Alienware version of it. Everybody was trying to create all these Steam console things. They need to keep this in house.
Yeah.
Yes.
It needs to be just like the Vive that they have worked on and everything else. It needs to be kept in house. That quality control needs to be there. So it's you feel okay with purchasing it. And then you feel supported as well, right? So it's like you have everything there, it's built into it. I'll be interested to see like within the next couple of years what ends up happening, especially now with rumors that we're about to get the Super Switch or the Nintendo
Super
Pro,
Switch.
whatever the fuck they're gonna call it. So to see where those levels are at, but I think you have to make it worth the purchase to play those PC games. I shouldn't be able to look at it and go, well, I've got this game on Switch and I got this game on the Game Boy or whatever the frick they're gonna call it,
The Steam
and
Pal.
just turn, yeah, and just be like, what are we gonna do? So
As funny as calling it the Game Boy would be, it's going to cause a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
yes.
sounds close.
I don't think they would really
parents
call
trying
it
to buy
that, to be honest.
They're going to be like, well, do you have the new Game Boy? You mean the Switch? No. The Game Boy.
Yeah, no.
I do think this thing has potential if they do it right, because I mean, the Switch just offers you to take your console on the go. Now, if people had access to their Steam library on the go, it would be a little bit more desirable than what the Steam Cloud thing was, where you hook it up to your TV like it's a console, because everyone's on the go these days. So being able to take your Sid Meier's Civilization 6 on your Steam Pal and go play it somewhere is just as desirable as somebody taking their Switch somewhere to play.
Well, to be fair, you can play that on Switch too. It just
Yeah.
won't have
Well,
as good
I'm
graphics.
just giving you an example. Like, you got a huge library on your Steam, and being able to take that anywhere, as long as it's priced right, I could see a lot of people being like, I could invest in that. That seems
It's like
a pretty
I
good
got
idea.
like 15 games on the Switch, but I have like 500 on Steam.
Exactly.
But
That's
it would just
also
have to
part
be
of
the-
it too.
Well, but the other thing, what it'll do is promote Linux, because Linux, not all games support Linux. This will allow for Linux users to get a little bit more games available to them as well.
Yeah. So I think there's a good chance. We're looking like both of these could be announced by towards the end of the year. So we'll have some more to talk about on this later on this year. So I'm really excited to see. I like new hardware. I like to see what these companies can really push forward with.
Another announcement that's come out is Dying Light 2 is getting a December release. Now, this is a game that both Grif and Baka played together.
Well, Chicken and I played it together too.
Yeah.
We just didn't
Well,
film
but
it.
we have video proof of one of them.
Yes. Yes.
I'm scared for this game because they recently I think they recently got under fire because of how quiet they were for a long time. And the developer, I think we talked about it too, the developer came out and was like, hey, we're working on this, we're trying to make this right, we're still still working on it, don't get too much. And now they've suddenly announced a release date. I think some shareholders may have gotten a little bit of an itchy trigger finger where it's like, people are getting really upset, you need to go ahead and set something here. I would not be surprised at all if we see a pushback or a delay, or if it's a little broken when it comes out.
A possibility. I do know that at the beginning of this gameplay trailer, one of the first things they say is, just like the rest of us, or rest of you in the world, we've had to cut back on how we worked, different ways and everything else, so it slowed the production down. And I like the fact that they're putting that out there to start
Being
with.
transparent.
Yeah, but it also could mean the date is based on what they know now, versus like if they'd made this announcement in September or December that they were going to release in December again, I'd be a little bit worried about it. Versus, a lot more people vaccinated. We don't, maybe the people can actually go to work. Where are they located at? Do we know?
I want to
It's
say they're like
Techland.
Polish or something. There was something, I can't remember where they're based out of though.
A Polish video game developer.
I'm sorry about
Okay,
the
so they're
coughing. I'm still
Polish.
dying.
No, you're fine. So Polish, which would be the same as CD Projekt Red, right? They're Polish as well.
Yeah. I
Yes.
think so.
So the difference being, this is after the major issues that have been going on with the pandemic and stuff, versus, I mean, they took place during, don't get me wrong, but this, at least they didn't make it like, I feel like Cyberpunk should be released in December of this year versus December of last year, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they end up delaying it again. And I would be okay with that. It's just everybody
Yes.
else has to be okay with that. Stop
I will
fucking
be fine
pressuring
with
people.
it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
and
if they
I,
delay
like I
it,
said, I
would
think
be
that's
fine
part
with
of it.
I'd be pleased if they
I
delayed
think
it.
the
'cause I'm
pressure
like
that they're
chicken.
getting from the higher ups and the audience is starting to wear. And again, I don't want, like, this feels like Cyberpunk again, where people are like, quit delaying it, give us the game. Oh my god,
I mean,
why'd
the
you give us
difference
this
between
game?
and Cyberpunk is that they haven't made grandiose promises yet. Like, you'll be able to do these things, and then when the game's there, you're like, I thought you said. I mean,
Well,
they
I don't
have
know,
their
man.
last-
If you've seen some of the mechanics that they say are going to be in this, because it's apparently your choice entirely changes how the city grows.
It changes the world, yeah. Like,
there's
like
they've got
poison
they've got a
consequence.
shot where the water's dropping and the area and that city grows accordingly. But I think
Yeah.
but I'm wondering here, this is another difference too, because if you remember with Cyberpunk, we were supposed to have it in like May of last year, and then it moved to the fall last year, and then it moved to another day in the fall last year, and then it moved to December.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I feel like if they're just saying we're gonna move to December, they're cutting all the other out. And if they get to July and they go, okay, we're gonna have to move it to May of next year, it doesn't feel like they're just don't know what the fuck they're doing, basically. Yeah.
It needs to be as polished, at least as polished as the first one. Like, you set the bar pretty good for the first Dying Light. If you come below that bar, it's gonna hurt a lot of people, and you do not want that for your sequel.
Oh, the first one was fun.
The plot on it though seems like it's gonna take some things from the first one. Like I got the impression your character gets infected again, like in the first one.
Probably. Well, you're probably having to
Yeah.
deal with the side effects of it. It's probably like, what was that game? The game where you took pictures, you had to take a bunch of pictures. It was a zombie game. I played the third one. Oh, I tried to stream the third one at your house, and
Dead
Xbox
Rising?
lied to us. Is that what it was?
Oh,
Dead Rising.
Okay,
3.
where they had, like, the people that were infected had to take the, stuff on a
The
regular
Zombex.
basis, and they had kind of set that
Zombex.
out in the first one. I guess now it's just going to be like, this is a part of life. You just have to make sure that you stop and take your stuff when you need to, because it does have a day and night cycle.
They will have to explain how, like, because I mean there were Zombrex and they had the whole city quarantined and
That's what it's
whatnot. It
called,
really felt like well, Baka said it, but they felt like they had it under control in the first game, because it was like, oh yeah, we're locking down the city, we're just gonna nuke it, napalm the whole thing, everything's safe. And now here we are, 20 years later, 98% of human civilization is gone. It's like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, how did it get out of the city?
Who let
and
it
how
out?
did you get this, like, stay of execution just because the one plan to nuke the city fell through? How come they didn't just go through with it later,
Yeah, like, you got to fill me in on those 20 years. I want to see how we went from Dying Light to Dying Light 2. I got to tell me. You got to show me. It's a huge jump.
And I mean, this one's mutated.
20 years,
so.
man. They'll have that in an HBO movie.
Yeah, a comic book that we'll have to
Um,
read and nobody actually knows exists.
Yeah, that's what that's in.
As long
they're
as they
gonna
still
make a
have...
third
anything
game.
about how video
Yeah,
games
I know.
work.
Dying
I-
Light, the pre-sequel.
I just want them to still have the hazmat zombies so that I can blow them up next to my friends. That's the best. You just shoot it and you hear because you know it's gonna blow up because it's letting the air out of the suit. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that sound?
I remember that.
Yeah, I know. I did
What's
it to
that
Baka a
sound? Boom.
lot. That was payback for all of the grenades and melees from Halo.
No. We did Dying Light before Halo.
It was
Don't give me that.
retroactive payback.
Oh,
I knew how
I think- I'm
Halo was
thinking
gonna go.
I think Baka was paying back a little bit.
That was the best. Any game that has like a hazmat enemy that explodes once you murder them is A+. A+. You mentioned Cyberpunk though. They're getting a new game director. The game's launched, and they're getting a new game director now.
Yeah, that's for DLC, I guess. But
Yes,
It's
because
for
they do have
everything
promised
afterwards.
DLC.
and for their multiplayer that's gonna be out in like 7 years.
Oh, it's never gonna. Please don't do, like, honestly, the way that game works with the mechanics and everything, I really don't think it needs a multiplayer. I don't think the multiplayer of that game would be super enjoyable.
I think it would be fine. Like, I think, like, if you do a like GTA style where you limit the amount of people, but kind of get will also make the cops not like goddamn super soldiers where they just magically appear out of thin air every time you look at somebody wrong and blow you up.
Yeah.
But I think there is potential in that game to have a good style of multiplayer. Like,
Really?
especially if
Because
you
I
can be a
feel like
good
it's
versus
gonna-
bad.
It's gonna make you. There's not a meta for that game right now, but if you add multiplayer, there will be. what do you want to have as your, arm upgrades? For me, my V ran with no arm upgrades because he was trying not to murder folks. He was a good dude. But I'm gonna need those rocket launchers probably, or the little whips. Probably not the blades so much, because that means the mantis blades you're gonna have to be close quarters combat. So you're gonna have to avoid the other dude's rocket launcher arms in order to get close enough to stab him with your cool ass manta blades. But mantis,
you
same
could
thing
almost
with-
set it up.
They
You could
do-
almost set the system up the same way that they do Valorant and other games like that, where you purchase your upgrades at the beginning.
yeah.
It's
So
not going to be a multiplayer game like that. It's going to be more like GTA, where everybody just kind of simultaneously lives in the city doing things, like doing missions for this guy.
Yeah,
Or
you just make a
so
whole
more
new character.
cooperative /
Yeah,
online
okay,
MMO
that
style
might be
stuff.
better.
Yeah.
That would definitely be
Yeah, I
better
would
than
see
like a
that.
head-to-head.
I was not going that's why I said GTA. I'm not going multiplayer with this style game. It's like GTA open world RPG where you could do different missions for different people, earn up different styles of street cred and things like that.
Yeah, that
like
would be
you're
fun.
just
I'd do
playing
that.
Cyberpunk. You're just playing Cyberpunk with multiple people in the world.
I mean, the downside is then I have to convince all of you guys to actually buy Cyberpunk. So
I mean, I think that would be a ton of fun, being able to load up a vehicle and just drive through the city with its horrible car controls, trying not to slam into every pedestrian to get blown up by the police.
you don't even have to worry about the pedestrians. Sometimes your car just ejects off the road for no reason now. I just thought that'd be a fun.
First of all,
Yeah.
Multiplayer racing in that game would be chaotic and so much fun.
But I mean, they
especially
have
Yes,
those
it
races
would.
set up, so I mean, you.
the part
Yeah.
it's in the desert when you're like racing through the desert and stuff, and things are doing like. 'Cause
Yeah, all the cars
physics
are
like-
bouncing everywhere
like
because
that.
the ground is rubber or
Well,
something.
Yeah, along with alternate universe, it's also alternate physics that
Yeah.
doesn't really work the same way it does
Yeah.
on this planet.
so yeah, I think there's potential in there, but having your game director change out before your DLCs are done really makes me scared of where you're going to take the DLCs and how it's going to flow into the main game.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I think they're just promoting the guy within based on what he's going to be doing, which is trying to run Cyberpunk stuff and The Witcher stuff at the same time. But I think that in this case, this guy they brought in January, which gives him enough time to learn the position he was going to be filling in. I think he was hired in January, been on the job training for this entire time, and then going from there.
Yeah.
he's the former creative director too, so
Yeah.
so hopefully he'll take the game in the right place. But this show is really starting to seem like it's going to be a reference show where it's like, hey, just refer back to 325 and see what we talked about then. Are we happy or are we disappointed?
Oh god.
Because honestly, looking at the rest of these articles and what we've talked about already, yeah, it really feels like we're just speculating on a lot of these going, I hope this is good. I hope this is good. I hope this was the right
What's
choice.
so funny is in 2 weeks we'll be doing the same thing, going, well, I really liked this trailer. I hope it's good.
I hope it's good.
I think it's
Do you
weird
think
that
it's
this
gonna
is where
be-
we're at now.
Do you think it's going to be like 2019 where they're like, this game's coming out in 2020. This game's coming out in 2020. You think it's going to be one of those things where it's like, all these games, 2023.
Probably.
Probably.
There'll be some announcements for I'm sure for next year, but it's one of those things where you're like rolling the dice with it. This game coming next year, and you're like, but is it though? Like I see what you're doing, and that's an ambitious game, and I know that you didn't start developing it until this year, so is it? I mean, at this point, we're so
Sony.
used to being the delays and things being canceled and things coming out like Cyberpunk that you kind of like. This is why we don't pre-order anymore, everybody. This is why we don't usually buy games on launch until we've seen things and had hands-on experience and.
Be the Sony exclusives won't be able to be purchased for 4 years because nobody can get a fucking PS5.
Has Ollie told us if it was actually a PS5 in that box?
Nope,
Ollie,
he is not.
I know you're listening to this tomorrow. I need to know, man. It's killing me.
I think he's trying to do like Chicken is with Biomutant.
Like, just
Knowing he's
wait
got other stuff to
until you have to.
He's waiting until he actually has to.
The difference is
open up the
Ollie's already
box.
made this purchase. Now you just gotta rip the Band-Aid off and find out.
I just want to know if it's water bottles or bricks on the inside. That's
For those of you that don't know and aren't in the Discord with us, Ollie, who is in the Discord, and you will see him on Twitch all the time with us and everything, really good dude, we love him. bought a PS5, hopefully, but there's been so many scams that there's a chance that maybe it's not. So it arrived this past week on like Thursday or Friday, and he still has not opened the box to let us know if it's really a PS5 yet. That's why
it's
we're
not driving us crazy at all.
Yeah.
It better be a PS5.
I'll be so mad if it's not. I mean, I'm sure he'll be mad too, but oh man. All right, what other news do we have to talk about? Because we're like,
this one's for Baka.
Quick...
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is getting a sequel. Well, we both played it. I'm stoked. They hit a good mark right there with that one, the original.
I mean, technically there is a sequel, but the storyline it's actually more of a prequel, is what the other one is. But yeah, I played through some with the guy and was hoping like I could skip bosses. You can't. By the way, I thought about that when I read the article. I was like, oh yeah, I never told Chicken if you could just skip to the end boss or not. Nope. They
you gotta
make
play
you
through
feel
the whole
fucking
game.
everything.
Oh boy. So it's just basically playing through the game a second time, just with a different character.
With a little bit more difficulty because you don't get like equipment upgrades or anything like that.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm interested to see. We'll probably see more about it too soon.
Yep. So one of the games that we've all played, don't play it as often now, but it's still in early access, from Obsidian, is Grounded. Grounded is now switching to more larger updates, but they're going to wait longer between those updates, versus the ones that they were releasing kind of on a monthly basis. Basically they have a small crew. They're pretty busy, so they're just finding other ways to do it. And some of the stuff they're adding is more intense too. So, which if you haven't played Grounded and you like that style of game and you want to play with your friends, I recommend it. But keep in mind the game is going to fucking change all the time when you're playing it.
I recommend waiting until we refer back to this episode and tell you how good it is when it's fully released. Because I guarantee it's going to be a solid survival game when it's done. The bones are there, 100%. It is good. Just wait until if you have Game Pass, you can play it for free. Don't buy it right now. It's just, no offense, it's just not worth it. Yeah. Just play it on Game Pass every now and then. Try out the updates, but just wait for full release because it's going to be a good game. Guarantee.
And you playing the game is helping them develop as well, so that's part of it. It's, there's not as many people playing it now as there was when it first started out, so it's a good time to get into it. It's free on Game Pass. Why not? And it's cross-platform between the PC and the Xbox, so you got friends that play both, please do.
Yep, try it out. It's fun. Only on Game Pass, though. Don't buy it yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
What else?
Wiki news. Also, we've got the Resident Evil Village producer, Peter Fabiano, I guess that's how you say his name, leaves Capcom after 13 years. He's actually taken a job with Bungie, working with Destiny. Well, we don't know that he's working with Destiny. That's just Destiny developer.
But Bungie got a good one for sure. But he was kind of short and sweet when he left. He's basically, it was hard to write, but he did send praise to Capcom and everybody that he worked with over the years. And I think it's probably a nice change of pace for him to be moving on to something else. And that's a good creative person to move over. And good for Bungie for hiring him. Like,
that gives me a little hope.
13 years. This guy helped to make Resident Evil 5, 6, 7, and 8. So he was smart enough to see where a direction in the games needed to go. So I give him a lot of credit. So kudos to Bungie for getting a really good one. Hopefully he can help them where he's needed.
And hopefully for Resident Evil 9, whatever it happens to be, he's already set up the blueprint for.
Oh, I'm sure he has. They're probably working on it right now. It's probably 25% done, if I had to guess.
Maybe. Unless they work like Naughty Dog does and they don't have anything done when they finish.
We'll just refer back to this episode when it's released.
Yeah, there we go.
A bunch of stuff that we gotta refer back to this episode for.
That's gonna be the title of this one. Episode 325.
Come back
one
to
we
me
refer back to.
Yeah.
Come back to me.
Come back to me later.
Come back
All
to
right,
me later.
this one I am going to state right off the bat, and I'm saying this so Chicken can rant or do whatever it is he wants to do on this particular one. Creative Assembly, which is the group that gives Total War 3 Kingdoms, which is a game that Chicken absolutely loves. Basically, they've given a bunch of DLC, and they've done their final patch for the game, and they're not supporting the game anymore past that. Chicken? Your thoughts?
It blew up. A lot of unhappy fans coming through. They've talked up. I think it was June of last year. They were talking up a huge DLC pack that was going to do a huge expansion in the north. And the way they titled their video when they talked about it was "The Future of Three Kingdoms." We're canceling it. So. That was pretty absolutely savage on Creative Assembly's part, because everyone went in going, oh yeah, now we finally get to hear about the big oh, it's canceled? Okay, this is not cool. I'm a little upset about it because they're just... Creative Assembly does really good games, but damn, they're just like Activision, man, because they will pump out like very similar style games over and over again. I mean, you've got Total War Warhammer, Total War Warhammer 2, Total War Warhammer 3 in the span of 5 years. Like they do really good games, but then because they've already said they've moved the developers onto another game for War of the Three, the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Which is basically what Three Kingdoms is based on, the three different families or clans in that era that were fighting over power. So they're just probably going to make Three Kingdoms 2 or some shit like that and stop doing this one and probably give us that whole expansion up north in a different game instead of doing DLC like they promised. So we'll get what they promised.
Well,
it'll just be right behind another $60.
The Warhammer 2, where it's like, oh, well, it's basically the same game. It's just a province off in another direction, and we're giving you new base armies to go with it. Instead of like, okay, well, let's do the DLC, add in a new area of the map, and then more racial armies to play with, and go that route. They're just like, let's just make it a new game and charge another $60.
Exactly, and I'm sure that's what they did with the Warhammer 3 too. They just did with like, oh yeah, don't do any more expansions. We'll just make another new game. So, Creative Assembly is really pumping out games, but they are just pumping them out right on top of each other at this point. I do kind of want to look up how quick the Warhammer game, Total War Warhammer, came out.
Well, we do that when we move on to story, and then just let us know what it is. So the Koch Media, which is the company that owns Deep Silver, that has Saints Row, Dead Island, Metro series, as well as they just created a new studio for Time Splitters as well. They are going to have a live Summer Game Fest event streaming out their games. It's speculated that it's a possibility that the Dead Island 2 that we've been waiting 12,000 years on might be coming out. I'm not 100% sure. Possibility of a Saints Row, which I'm going to hand this over to our Saints Row expert, which is going to be great.
Our Saints Row
Thought process on this one?
reporting live from the scene. I don't know. I want it to be a good Saints Row game, and in addition to the series. But first of all, where do you go after 4? I mean, you blew up the planet. We have time travel capabilities. It's not like you can scrap the protagonist. Saints Row is pretty much about that protagonist and that gang. So, where do you go from here?
Other planets.
I mean,
Saints
yes,
Row in space.
Saints Row in space.
And you give me a
what 4 was,
spaceship that I can go around and like destroy people? Come on.
You could do that before. You had
No, but come on. Old game.
Yeah,
The opening of it could be like a retro Space Invaders kind of thing, where it's like you use the
you
same
did that
ship
in Saints
that
Row
it's
4. They had the whole scene at the White House where you had to play Space Invaders. It literally came down to them actually putting up the Space Invaders, thing and you had to
That's
shoot
right.
them down. It was literally, they did that in 4. That's the problem. They did everything. Now what?
Well, you better hope that the people
But you
working
can't
on
do
it can.
superheroes. They did that in 4.
Shoot them 4. Had superpowers, because you're in a
Well, what
simulation.
about blowing up a Death Star?
I mean,
Or a
the
Death
Star
Planet?
Wars round.
you
I
basically
think they
went
did-
and
they
killed
did.
Darth Vader right at the end anyway, so what else do? You didn't blow it up because you got to be like ruler of their civilization after that, so why would you blow up the thing that you're now in charge of?
I would be interested to see what they end up
Or
doing
with
that.
the time travel options, they could do a Back to the Future thing, or like go back in time with the dinosaurs.
They actually
do
sort
an
of did
arc
that
style.
too. You had a whole DLC thing with the rafters. So
I didn't play
Yeah.
there you go.
Or- I know, perfect. This is why they revived the Time Splitters company. Boss is going to be recruited into the Time Splitters, and he's going to have to go through all of these different eras and save the world in the different times. Like
Oh
he's
my
going to be a
God.
Time Splitter, so he's got to go save all these different people in the different eras and use the different guns
As-
and whatnot for
As
that
long
era.
as it controls like Saints Row and not like fucking Time Splitters, at the end of the day, I'm good to go.
I just don't know what you do in a new Saints Row game, because the only thing, I mean, unless you're going to reboot the series, and then if you reboot the series, do you reboot it from the standpoint of Saints Row 1, or do you reboot it from the series of Saints Row, like, okay, Saints Row 1 was its own thing. Saints Row 2 was a similar thing to Saints Row 1, but they got a little more, like, a different kind of wacky with it. And then Saints Row 3 and 4 are, you know, like, straight successors to each other, where they went, let's just do it. Let's go over the top and do it. And which era do you reboot? You know? Like,
We'll refer back to this episode too
clearly.
when it's
I'll have
announced.
to wait until they actually
Literally,
show us
this is the one we
anything.
refer back to.
I've got to
the-
say, out of all the games that I've ever seen, I think the biggest gap between sequels was Saints Row 2 and Saints Row 3. I have never seen a sequel style game that was that big of a
A
gap.
departure? Yes.
Yeah, like, and you you titled it with just a number. Like, people going from Saints Row 2 go to Saints Row
But
3
it's
going,
because literally they
What the
kept the same
hell?
timeline the whole time. That's why you get the jokes in Saints Row 4 that you do, because Keith David is your vice president, but Keith David voiced a character in Saints Row 2 that was, or the first Saints Row, that was your nemesis and you fought against, and that's why everybody's like, oh, you think it's weird that he sounds like Julius? It's like, because it was. They literally didn't make a distinction. It's not a separate universe. They went Saints Row 1 all the way through with the storyline. They just made the gameplay so much different, and the story
that's why they
took
went
a
like
weird,
Saints
crazy
Row
turn.
1, Saints Row 2, to the moon with Saints Row 3. Actually, that's Saints Row 4.
like Saints Row 1, they tried to be Grand Theft Auto, very, very serious.
Mhm.
2, they kept the seriousness, but they added in some goofy things like,
Yes.
oh, we'll throw in a goofy mission where you drive around in a
The septic tank truck.
truck. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So,
you know,
so
put
basically,
poop
what
all
Grand
over
Theft Auto is
buildings.
now, is
Yeah.
what Saints Row 2 was. All right,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And then 3, they're just like, yeah, let's forget the serious stuff. Let's just go batshit crazy.
Let's just do
Yeah, it was like
something
serious, serious. Let's just throw the serious out. Here you go. It's nothing but goofy. Here you go.
fun. I mean, it had elements
So, I mean-
of seriousness to it, but they were so like overshadowed with the funny stuff. Like the fact that you lost right out of the gate in Saints Row 3, you lost Johnny Gat, which is your best friend and a badass. You had this like character death looming over you for most of Saints Row 3, but it was easy to look past that because of everything. I mean, like, once you're dealing with Burt Reynolds as the mayor and a zombie problem on your hands, you kind of like forgot that you lost your buddy. You know, this is how I grieve, and now I'm on to acceptance and moving on by shooting zombies for Burt Reynolds. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what you do with it. Now I just want to play Saints Row, man.
Well, see, and here's the other thing about it too, because the other games we mentioned that was on there, Metro. I've played all the Metro games a couple times through.
Mm-hmm.
I love that series. The third one, it ended.
Yeah, like they've got games with finite ends too, right there with those two. I mean, you could come back to the world, but you're going to have
And
to
I
try
don't-
really hard to make it make sense.
So I think you're gonna get a new IP out of this from something.
Mm.
And I think you're gonna get something from stuff they've already created, and then I think that you're going to end up doing like the Dead Island 2. I think you're going to end up with the reboot version of whatever they decided to do originally from that. And you all didn't like Dead Island, right? Or did you like it?
I liked Dead Island. Hello, right here. This guy, I have it right here, actually.
I tried to like it, but it was so boring. So boring.
Right here. I
Xbox
liked it.
360. Do you even own a 360 anymore?
Yes, we have 3.
Yeah, actually, that's what I have. Yeah, I have to use that to play Guitar Hero.
Oh, okay. Play a lot, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I have a 360. Why wouldn't I? I mean, I have a 64 right here with Mario Party 3 in it.
Fair enough.
Our GameCube still has SSX Tricky in it.
Exactly.
I still have
we're
all
old
my game
gamers.
systems.
We're old gamers here. We've got old consoles that we like to play.
I hear you.
I still have my Nintendo.
I wonder,
Exactly.
I still play Duck Hunt on it.
to bring it back to the article though, I wonder, because we saw a trailer, like 4 years ago, more maybe, of Dead Island 2 that made it seem like it was also going to go in a comedy direction, maybe, because there was a dude
Like
jogging.
it was going to like a Saints Row version of it?
Yeah, basically. Like, so I'd be okay with that, because maybe it'd make the game interesting enough for me not to fall asleep in the first 2 hours and stop playing.
For those that don't remember the trailer she's talking about, it's a guy that's running on the beach, essentially, or on the road next to the beach.
With his
and the
headset,
zombies
or,
kind of
like, earbuds in.
Yeah, and he looks like it's set in the 80s, right? Color-wise, am I right?
No, he's got he's
It's-
listening to an iPod.
Oh.
I blame Grif's unenjoyment of Dead Island on the three, me, Baka, and Red, because we played through the entire game without her, and then we tried to play it with her, but we already played through it, so she did not, because we didn't all invest together, she felt like she was the lone one out and really didn't, fall into the game with the rest of us.
I was being
at the
dragged
time,
around
so.
to all of the locations because they already knew where they were going, and it's like, now you have to learn how to craft, and so I'm trying to read the crafting menu, and they're like, here, I made this for you, do you want me to drop this gun? I'm like, why am I playing this game?
To be fair,
Not to mention,
So it's
it was
being fair to
also
some
very
people
slow.
that have already played.
to be fair, I tried to keep pace with Grif, but I mean, Red and Baka were just not having it. They were like,
Yeah.
all right, we've done this before. Let's just go ahead and keep moving. So
The gameplay, too, is a little slower paced than a lot of the other stuff we were playing at that time. So that added to it feeling boring, is because, we were playing other things where it was a fast-paced shooter, and there was a lot of action, and this is like, there's 3 zombies in the pool, and the rest of it is for you to wander around and gather stuff.
it played a lot like Dying Light. Like, honestly, it was like the predecessor to what the Dying Light combat, because
Dying
the zombies are really...
perk was that it gave you the parkour. Like, it was the fun
Yeah, that is
kind
true.
of running up the wall.
That's
and
what
then...
separated it. But I mean, the zombies are just as dumb and slow in both games. Because seriously,
Yes.
I could just punch one and it just like it makes them all explode and fall down. It's like, okay.
Dying Light gave me the hazmat zombies. It will always be
So
superior.
I think if we play Dead Island 2 together, and if it goes a little bit more of a comedic route, because that is what we're missing. There are no comedic zombie games short of Dead Rising, which has died as a series. So
Dead Rising is now actually dead.
it is dead.
It is no longer
Rip.
undead. It is dead.
Yep.
To be fair, the Dead Rising 3 was pretty fun. Dead Rising 4 is what killed it. So
Yep.
Yeah. They start
now I
adding
want
a
to
lot
play
of
that
stuff they
game
didn't need
too.
to add.
Stop making me want to go back and play these old games. Damn it!
Well, we will probably
Me too.
see Dead Island 2 and Saints Row 5 and Time Splitters at E3 from
Saints
Koch
Row question
Media,
mark.
so.
It could be because they did that Agents of Mayhem. I wonder if, because that was in the world of Saints Row, I wonder if that's what we'll see instead of an actual like Saints Row 5. It was Saints Row subsection. This is what was going on the other side. This is what happened in Steelport while you were in Stillwater, or something like that.
I can see that.
Maybe it's
But,
got to do better than the Agents of Mayhem did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
That just, they missed the mark with that a little bit. From what I've heard, the actual gameplay is a lot of fun, but it just didn't have enough mass appeal to get people in.
Mm-hmm.
Saints Row is not a big enough
just-
title for you to do a whole multiplayer, like, standalone of.
No.
Nope.
I don't admit that as a Saints Row fan.
Anyway, to the previous topic for Total War. Total War Warhammer came out in May 24th, 2016. Total War Warhammer 2 came out a year and a half later in 2017, and Total Warhammer 3 is coming out this year. So within 5 years, they've gotten 3 games. Or 6 years. 5 years.
That's not the worst thing. I
2016.
mean, look at Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty. Well, Assassin's
Yeah, I know,
Creed
but
slowed
I mean,
down. Call of Duty has not.
When it's 3 almost identical games, it's pretty bad. Like, you seriously just take some of the DLC characters, put them in the game, take some of the characters in the game, and make them DLC characters.
I mean, to be fair, the gameplay in Assassin's Creed is pretty much the same from game to game. It's just the city that changes in the plotline a little.
Exactly. So
That's
I mean,
what made. That's what when they added the freaking pirate ships. That's what made it fantastic. It's just
'Cause it
like,
was
what, I
different.
can go on water now.
like, they actually changed the base gameplay, which was so fun. Oh my god! Like, if you're gonna reuse the game, you got to make the story. Or if you're gonna reuse the gameplay, you got to make sure that the story is super enthralling.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't load it up with side quests and collectibles.
Yeah. Listen to that every
Anything
open world
else?
game out there. No, we can go now.
Yes.
We do appreciate everybody who hangs out with us each and every week at Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Grif.
At Grif Slinum.
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken through and 3.
Check out Baka.
And Baka.
He's not moving.
He's
on my
frozen,
screen.
but he's speaking, and that's the important part. Continue.
I was scared for a minute.
There it goes.
There it is.
Someone's
little
downloading
smile.
He's porn
gotta
on
do
his
the thing.
internet.
He's got to do the thing.
Oh my god, wrap up the show before his internet dies. Come on.
Also, make sure you go to Grif's YouTube channel where she's got all these games she's played, and she's gonna be the fall before she adds more games. So just watch them all,
Before
and
I
then
finish
comment in
Skyrim.
them, and then like 6 months from now, she'll comment back. It's really cool.
You know, the 6 month delay was 2 months, thank you, and it was because YouTube hid the comments. That's not my fault. It's not my fault.
I didn't say it was your fault. I just said that it was fun. Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/elite chicken313. Chicken, you got anything?
Maybe some TBC. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, and then go to twitch.tv/MDB Oaktree as well. I'll be playing this week some Biomutant, some Apex, all different types of stuff like that. So for Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
Baka.
Bye.
See?
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.